Hi everyone, this is Karen. I'm showing you on screen what I'm hoping to cover today. So basically what I'm saying is that in the basic lessons, I'm going to be trying to touch on as many things as I can in a general way to show you where they are and give you a general idea of how they work. I'm going to be going into these more in depth in later lessons. And if there's anything specific that you want me to go over, then please comment below the video. And I will be answering all of those requests and any questions you may have. I'll definitely cover topics and videos if you request them, and I add them to my Evernote database so that I don't forget about them. So here are the things that we're going to be going over. Basically, it's going to be how to create your own mat sizes, custom mat sizes, of course, creating text, welding, pages, layers, and cut line type. So some of this is just because I'm following along in the manual, but the others are because I've seen some requests from people, and these are some basic things that they would like to know about. So let's get started. So the first thing I said that I would cover with you was creating custom mat sizes. I don't need the library, so I'm going to close that. Your mat sizes are up here in the document panel. The document panel is the one with an icon that looks like a document up here. So it's the first one up in this area. There are some standard mat sizes that are included with the program. Those are 12 by 12, 12 by 24, 8.5 by 11, A3 and A4. All the rest of these are custom mat sizes that I've created. To do that, click Custom Mat Size, and then type in a size for the mat you want. Let's say if I wanted to work on an 8 by 8 scrapbook layout, and I just want to know what's going to fit on my page. I can create one with a width and height of 8. I'll save it as a preset. I just need to check that box, and I'm going to call this 8 by 8. Simple as that. You can call them whatever you want, but this is what I've been doing. Then it's easy for me to figure out what size I'm working with. And then all I need to do is click OK. And so now this is an 8 by 8 mat. You can see that from the inch markings along the side of the mat. And it shows custom mat size up here under mat size. Anytime you want to change to any other mat size, you just select it from the list and it's going to show you over here on your screen. Let's say if I wanted to delete a mat size. I'm going to go back into custom mat size. I'm going to select the mat I want to delete and I'm going to remove it. You could remove them all if you wanted to start over, or you could remove one by one. And that's all there is to creating a custom mat size. I'm going to go back to a standard 12 by 12, and I'm going to teach you about creating text. The basic text tool is up here on the left side of your screen. Whenever you see a diamond on the bottom of an icon like this, it means that there's more available in that icon. So all you need to do is click and hold it, and you're going to see the other items displayed. You're going to see that here you have type tool, vertical type tool, type on path tool, and type on arch. So type tool is the standard type tool. Once you click in your document and you start typing, it will type your text. If you then click the selection arrow, your object handles will be displayed and you can manipulate your text. You can stretch it out, you can stretch it sideways only, being locked from going up and down because that's the sideways only handle. You can rotate your text, you can apply different colors and thicknesses and all types of stuff. As long as you haven't done anything like weld your text or ungroup, use various path options, your text is still text that can be changed. In other words, you can change the spelling of the text or what you've written. You can start over. Okay, so all of these handles, if you use them to rotate or change the size of your text, that doesn't affect the ability to change what your text says. That's what's called live text. When you can change what the text says, it's called live text. When you manipulate it differently, when you use one of the path commands, or if you ungroup your text, or if you weld it let's say you were working with script and you welded your letters together so that they look really nice, or it's easier to work with them because you only have one piece to pull off the mat, then you've changed that to a graphic object, or you have converted it to a curve. Once you've done that, then you can no longer change what the text says. You can only manipulate the shape of it. So that's your basics on the standard text tool. Next is the vertical type tool. So I'm going to click and hold that, and now I'm going to choose the vertical type tool. So now when I click and I start typing, it types vertically for me so that my text is written from top to bottom instead of from left to right. Whoops, I've got 2 G's there. So you see I can correct my spelling right now by clicking the text tool, clicking in my text and deleting that extra G. I'm going to show you what happens if I ungroup these. So now I've got separate letters and I can move them around where I want, stretch them out, whatever I want to do, because these are now graphic objects. It's not going to change shape the same way, and it's only the one that you chose that's going to change. As you see here, I dragged it out to the right and look what happened to it. But you can use this if you're being creative in trying to create something. Let's say you wanted to create something that has 2 rectangles like this. Think about the letters that you have and how you might be able to do things like that. Anyway, once you select all of these, they are individual. You can group them again, but you will not be able to change the text. You can't make a liar out of me. Okay, what it's done is it's created a new piece of text, and this is still text because that hasn't been converted, but you cannot click the text tool and click inside your text here to manipulate it. The only thing you can do now is change the shape of this text. So let's get rid of all of this because it's not going to help us in anything. Next is the Type on Path tool. I clicked on my page and it says cannot create text for chosen path because there is no path on the page. First, I have to have a path before I can use this. So a path means any line, any graphic object, a line being a graphic object. So let's say if I used the pencil and I created a path. Now I can put text on this path. I can use the Text on Path tool, start it over here. So I'm going to start typing on my path. Now you see that your letters are jumbled. You can manipulate that. You can add spacing if you wanted to. You can ungroup your letters and move them individually. And at this point also, they are text, so you can edit your spelling or what your words say. Once you convert this to a path, then you will not be able to do that. So this works with any path. Let's say you had a circle and you click the Text on Path tool and you click right on your path. You can start typing around a circle. Okay, so that works for any type of path. A path being an object. Next is the Type on Arch tool. In this case, you can again click in the document and start typing. And the more you type, the more of an arch you get. Once you've done this, you can manipulate your arch. You can drag it out, make it longer, you can rotate it. So that's typing on an arch. Again, we'll go further into any of these if necessary later on. Welding. In Surecuts a lot, you have 2 types of weld. The first one is a temporary weld, and you're going to find that in your style panel. So the style panel, your style panel is the one that has a wrench as an icon. And you'll see that there's a weld checkbox over here. To show this, I'm going to use the standard text tool. I'm going to type a letter, and then I'm going to draw an oval. So I'm going to drag this T over the oval. When you look at it now, you see that the oval cuts through the T. But if I select both of those pieces and I come to my style panel and I click weld, when I click preview, you're going to see that the T is welded into the oval. Wherever it's gray, it will not cut. Wherever it's red, your cutter will cut. So let's do that with another example so that you can see. Let's take a couple of shapes. We'll take a circle. We'll go back to the library and choose this shape. I'm going to choose this one and make it larger. Okay, so back over here in my style panel, if I click weld, whoops, I only have the one item selected, so that doesn't work. I'm going to come back to the style panel. Weld is selected, but it was only selected for the one. So now it is selected for both pieces. And when I click preview, you'll see that this whole section will not be cut. So that means that your shape will be the part that is red. I'm going to clear the checkbox. I'm going to choose the other option you have for welding, which is the union command in the path menu. So you would click path and union. Now this becomes a permanent weld. You can see on the screen what that shape is now. When you click preview, you see the same red line, but you don't see that gray line because that gray line is gone. You can click undo and get back what you had, but once you save your file and close the program, the next time you come back to it, that shape will be permanently welded. Let's do it the other way. Let's select all of this, and I'm going to come to the style tool and click weld. So now if you click preview, you'll see the gray area that indicates that that will not be cut, but the red will be cut. Okay, so now I'm going to save this file. I'm going to save my project as my weld test. Notice that by default it goes to my Craft Edge directory in my document folder, and everything is saved in my projects, and that shows up in my library. So I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to exit Shortcuts a lot, and then I'm going to start Shortcuts up a lot again. Okay, so now if I go into my library, so I look for my projects. In my projects, here's my weld test. I'm going to open this up and look at the screen. You can still see those lines are there. If I go to my preview, you'll see that the gray is still there. So if I go to my style panel, clear the weld checkbox, and move these items, they're still separate items. So let me do that using the path function, and you'll see that it's permanent. I'll click path and union, and then I'm going to save this project as weld test union. Close the program, start it up again. And now when I go and open that file in my project panel, this should be this one. No, that was the temporary one. Does it say weld test? And this one says weld test union. Okay, so this is my file, and look at this, it's permanent. If I click the preview button, I don't have the lines in the middle. It's a permanent weld. Next thing we're going to get into is pages. Let's say that you're working on something and for whatever reason you need another page to work on. There could be so many different reasons for this. All you need to do is click this plus button up here to create a new page. It's going to call it page 2 by default, but you can call it anything you want just by changing the name. I've just called it my second page. You can change the color if you want to something else. And click OK. So now you have another page there. You can keep adding pages. This would be my third page. And click OK. You can come back to page 1, double click, and change its name. You can remove pages by clicking the X over here. And it asks you if you want to confirm, and you can say yes. So you've named your pages, so it's not going to now call this my second page because you've called it my third page. It will stay whatever you named it. Page order, you can move them around. You can take this page here and swap it over so that now you've got your third page over here and your first page over here. And you can preview pages. Preview works in exactly the same way as elsewhere. You click preview and you'll see what's going to be cut on your page. Let's say if I had the number 1, the letter D, and I can take this and move it over here, and I can add a rectangle. I'm going to add a shape, a heart. Okay, so that's on my first page. And on my third page, I'm going to draw a triangle and another triangle and another triangle. And I'm going to change this one to green. Not that this matters for the preview, but just to say. When I click my first page and I click preview, it's going to show me everything that's defined to be cut as a red line. When I'm done looking at the preview, I just click the Done button. On my third page, same thing. If I click Preview, it's going to show me everything that will be cut as a red line. There are other choices here, but we'll be going into that later. So now the next thing I want to show you is visibility in your Layers panel. You'll see now that you've got this page and you have 3 items in your Layers panel. This shape is your green triangle over here. If you click the eye, you're going to hide it. So now if you click Preview, you are only seeing 2 shapes that will be cut. So this is how you prevent a shape from being cut. Now if you go back and turn on the eye and you click Preview, you'll see your 3 shapes again. Let's say I only wanted to cut this top piece. So this means I want this one, but I don't want these 2. I go back to Preview and it shows me it's only going to cut this one triangle. Same thing with my other page. I can decide, okay, this is the text that I want inside my label. I want this to be printed and not cut, or I want to draw this instead of cutting it. So I'm going to go to my cut lines, and that's my cut line type, and I'm going to choose this as draw so that I can put a pen in to my blade holder and it will draw instead of cutting. So now when I preview, notice that it shows the pen differently from the cut lines. These are cut lines and this is a drawing line. Okay, and there are other things here. As I said, I'll show you later. There are additional cut line types, but those will be covered in a later lesson. So the last thing I want to show you is how to create a shadow layer or a contour. So I'm going to delete these. Actually, I'll just keep my heart there because, well, maybe I'll leave the text there as well. So I'll just delete this rectangle. I'm going to change this from a draw or print and cut to a cut. And this was already a cut, so that's fine. Make this a little bit bigger so that it's going to be easier for you to see what I'm doing. Same thing here. All right, so to create a shadow is really super easy. Right click, choose Appearance, and then Add Shadow Layer. And you can see there's a faint outline around the heart. At this time, this is an outline. This is what, this is an external offset for those of you familiar with Silhouette. So this is on the outside of the shape. If you wanted the line to go to the inside, click Inset Shadow, and that now becomes on the inside. And the size of your line can be determined here. You can slide this slider, or you can click the up and down arrow keys, or you can enter a value. You can type it in. I'm going to type in 0.15. You can change how the edges look. I'm going to cancel here. I'm going to zoom in so that you can see this better. Click my selection tool, select the item, and then right click, choose Appearance, and add shadow layer. So with the miter of 1.00, this is the edge you get down here. If I increase that, you'll see how it changes. It becomes sharper here. If I decrease it, this is as far as it goes. You can do a blackout shadow, and you can do a print and cut outline. You can have more than one layer. You can have multiple layers. And you can say how much of a distance there is in each of those layers by increasing this number. See how the values have changed there. And you can change your end color. You could start off with a very light color, let's say a light gray, and you could end up with a very dark color. And this is not how it will cut. This is just so that you can see the difference. So that's about creating shadow layers. So I'm going to zoom back to the normal size, and I'm going to delete the heart, and I'm going to show you with this text. Same idea. You right click, choose Add Shadow Layer, and it creates a shadow layer. I'm going to change these colors so it's going to be a lot easier to see. I did click light gray, okay. And I'm going to choose black as the end color. It's not letting me do that because I need more than one layer. Okay, so there we go. If I chose this as an inset, it would go to the inside. So let me undo this. Go back to the shadow layer. And if you're just creating a normal shadow, let's do exactly this. I'm going to change the color of my original fill. There we go, okay. So now you see the dark part is your shadow, or a matte, as some people like to call it. These are separate. There's two separate pieces there, a thinner one and a thicker one. So if I undo that, I can also create an outline. I can select all of this, right click and choose Merge, and now you have an outline. And you see where that's going to cut. Where the red lines are is where it's going to cut. So that's it for our lesson for today. I hope this has been helpful to you. Please subscribe to my channel and be sure to mention below if there's anything else I can help you with. Leave me a thumbs up if you liked the video and tell your friends about my lessons. Thanks so much for watching.